All right. Morning, everybody. Hope you had a nice weekend. Right now, we're looking at the market action via the SPY chart from last week. I think the one thing that clearly sticks out is that we were in a very tight, compressed range. As we know in markets, as things contract and compress, they then tend to expand. How tight were things last week? Just looking at the 4 days of trading action, most of the price action on the SPYs was spent between 127.50 and 128.25, about a 75-cent range. That's tight. We had a little bit of price action below there midweek, but for the most part, most of the trading was done in this very tight range that I've outlined. And if we were to break above the top of that range from last week, we would expect a fairly quick move to the upside, probably close to 130 in that direction. And then on the downside, a little bit trickier in the sense that there's support here at this 127.50 for most of the week. Below that, then we have the 126, let's say 60-ish area that showed support over the course of the midweek. And then below there, probably we could see a move down to 125 or so. This is a bit of a Biotech Monday. INHX captured a large takeover bid from BMY. Again, if you want my feelings and you want to understand if you're a short-term trader what to do with stocks that receive cash takeover bids that gap up, just go to the blog. I think it's trading lesson number 2. We don't trade those stocks, mainly because they don't move particularly much because they're cash takeovers. But there will be a lot of stocks in the biotech sector that are going to be in play today off of sympathy on that news, and it seems like overall there was a lot of news released in that sector. First thing I want to take a look at is DNDN. DNDN is another small biotech. Here's the longer term on this, and we can see 1 year was in the 30s a few months ago over the summer, got clobbered down to about $12 a share, then got hit again back here in early November down to below 7. Over the last few days started to show strength, and this was actually already on our radar last week because of the strength that it was showing. Here's the 5-day chart on it. With this news, with INHX, even though they're completely unrelated, other than the fact that this is a small biotech and it was showing strength last week, don't think for a minute that people with more money, with millions or billions of dollars, won't actually start to put money into this. It was showing strength last week. It was a small biotech. Another small biotech gets a big takeover bid at a high premium. It's as simple as that sometimes. There isn't a lot of thought going into it. So this one's going to be in play today. We can see that closed fairly strong on Friday, above $12 a share, around $12.30. I'm going to watch that. You can see there was a little bit of profit taking already this morning from the gap up that we saw. It was as high as around $13.40 in the pre-market. Came off, and actually let me show you the 5-minute. And you can see came down to about $12.70 or so a couple of times and was bought there. So on the open, that's what I'm going to watch for, this $12.70 to $12.75, to see if as the market opens it continues to support there. If it does, you can use this $13.30 to $13.35 pre-market resistance as a potential target. But again, there isn't a lot of sophisticated thinking going on at this point in some of these smaller biotechs. Large premium for a stock that's not even a competitor, but more money will be attracted today, and as the volume comes in, people with trading skills, there's going to be some opportunities to take advantage of there. Another biotech, let's take a look at. This is Gilead. This one has gone up in a hurry from 37 up to $43 a share, which is longer term resistance. But again, going to be in play probably because of the attention on biotechs today. This is a higher cap stock there, not one of the smaller ones. You can see normally trades about 8 million shares or so. Worth keeping an eye on. Here's the 15, actually let's go 5 days on this one. Here's the 5-day, 15-minute. Failed twice at around the 43. Looked like Friday maybe was going to make a run there to make a move higher, but did not. A couple of spotty prints in the pre-market, hasn't done much yet. The way that I would look at this one, it's come up in a hurry. How can you tell if it has more upside? Probably spend some time above this 42.70, where on Thursday there was quite a bit of buying here before this end of the day sell pressure. Had a gap lower on Friday, but very quickly was above there again on Friday, and spent quite a bit of time being accumulated in this area up here. So as the market opens, if it gets above this bottom line here, above 42.70, and is consolidating, then maybe it makes a run at breaking above this is 43 today. And then the other ones, just go to the morning sheet on some of these other biotechs. Those were the main ones I wanted to take a look at. I want to go to this theme that I covered last week on the blog, which was Goldman Sachs upgrading and downgrading, having impacts on stocks last week. They upgraded MET this morning. It's a little bit different, and the subtle difference, some people might not recognize as less experienced traders, but the stocks that they were upgrading and downgrading last week were more momentum names. They had upgraded LU, and that actually was a nice catalyst. Moved from 48 up to 54 last week. The downgrade that they discussed was SMB, and you can see there the downgrade they gave went from 49 to 47, but SMB actually quickly recovered after that downgrade. The difference here is MET is not a momentum name, so in order for it to catch your attention, it can't just be a Pavlovian reaction of a dog. Because it's not a momentum name, you would only pay attention to MET if it got above this recent high, 33.70. If it gets above 33.70, that means that people are actually probably reacting to this upgrade, and you would look at the longer-term resistance, which was around 35 and change. So again, I'm not going to trade it just because Goldman upgraded it, because it's not a momentum name like LU, SMB. I know it's probably on the morning idea sheet because of the fact that Goldman did mention it and did upgrade it. So what we want to see is the price action actually confirm that upgrade, and the recent high from December 5th, which is around 33.70, you'd want to see volume come in there and get above that price, and if that happens, if that happens, then maybe it goes to the next higher resistance on the long term, which is around $35 a share. Going back, I just want to quickly check in with the market, see where we are here, see if we're possibly setting up to break to the upside. And we are pressing up against the pre-market resistance area here around 128.15. Our confirmation for possible up move would be about above 128.30. If that were to happen, we would, on the desk, look for some of these stocks setting up for longer-term breaks that are showing strength, like an NKE. Here's a 6-month chart on it. NKE, Nike had this move above 98 a few days ago last week. Zooming in on the 5 days. Here's the 15-minute without the pre-market. You can see very clearly, similar to the SPYs a little bit, in the sense that here's the SPYs, here's NKE. NKE, $98 a share, showing some support. Dropped below there a few times, but not really holding below. 98.5 or so showing resistance. If the market breaks to the upside, if it takes out 128.30, this is a very nice candidate to break to the upside. Would want to see it holding above 98.50. Then people probably looking for a move to that psychological level of about $100 a share. That is a good one for upside. I want to take a look at another technical play. Here's Boeing. Here's the bigger picture on this one. Very nice consolidation over the last 2 weeks, pretty much between 73.30 or so and 74.80. If this one starts consolidating close to $75 a share and the market breaks to the upside, could be a good candidate for an upside break. Here's the longer term on it. Here's a 2-year. See what that looks like. Very nice consolidation against the recent resistance. Longer term, you got to go to 76, and then $78 a share for longer term resistance levels. And again, this one in particular, if we're above 128.30 and it starts to move higher, would be a nice technical setup. A couple more stocks. I want to go over a couple of momentum names. NFLX was very in play last week and probably due for a bit of a rest. Had a nice move earlier in the week, breaking above around $74 a share, ran up to 80. Then 2 days later, took out the 81.5 resistance and ran all the way up to 87. Pre-market was gapping up on the news that they're launching in UK. Third day of strength since last week, this could be a little bit of a sell. The news opportunity, zooming in on the pre-market, we can see that already was above $91 a share, came off from 91 to about 88 in the pre-market. So far, about 3 points of profit taking has worked its way higher now, back up to 90. I'd be cautious on the short on this one because it has sold off so much over the last 6 months and showed its first signs of strength last week. But we want to be aware that people did get involved in the low 70s last week, and 90 to 91, this pre-market resistance area, would be a spot where if some more selling happens on the open, that could very easily trade back down to $86 a share. To me, the momentum has shifted in this one from a longer-term perspective over the last few days. So if I were going to put a short on today, if I saw resistance at 90 or at 91, it would be for a short-term play for an intraday scalp. Intraday scalp on NFLX is usually 2 to 4 points. I wouldn't be looking for it to be trading back down to the 70s. And I'd be very cautious if it starts consolidating above $90 a share for more than an hour of trading it on the short side. That profit taking should happen right on the open. Another momentum name, GMCR, actually that's become weaker over the last few months. We were looking at this, I think, last week, noticing that, here's a 2-week chart on it. Actually, let me give you a 1 month. Had this nice consolidation here, got above 46, was looking to possibly move to the upside, but very quickly came back inside of the consolidation and then broke to the downside. Possibly some more downside today on this one. Here's a 5-day, 15-minute, and we can see that on Friday, very heavy volume below this 44 move here, and I'd be looking for some more downside follow-through, very heavy volume into the close. This 43.25 area, if it's holding below there on the open, that's a possible short entry, and then 42.65 was the low from Friday. Below there, you really want to be looking at it on the short side. All right, I think I have one more technical setup to go over, DMND. Here's the longer term view first on this one. We can see this one got obliterated, came off from $90 a share, formed a base here in the mid-20s. Zooming in on the last couple of weeks, you can see started to work its way back up to 30 and then consolidated above 30 with 31.75 or so showing support. It's resisting here at around this 34 level, but spent about a week consolidating against it. So we want to see what happens here at 34 today. Here's a 5-day chart on it. And you can see, actually as we zoom in even on the 15, you can see some resistance a little bit lower than 34, around 31.70 or so. So watch this one today. If it's consolidating in a tight range, let's say between $33.60 and $34 a share, and it breaks to the upside, probably has a couple of points of upside on that one. All right, still tight in the pre-market. We found recently in the pre-market that if we move out of these tight consolidations, we continue to have some good follow-through. So as we move, if we get above 128.20 right here in the pre-market and hold above 128.30, look for that upside break. If we get below this 127, let's say 70 or so, look for us to trend a little bit lower, maybe down to 127.40, and then below there, you got to look at this 126.80 to 126.60 support. Every Monday, we'll be sending this the morning meeting out to you live, talking about the stocks in play and what short-term levels we're looking at the SPYs overall. Good luck today, everyone.